And that's why Bruce Perry didn't come. He thought that after the debate, he would be out here.
Minister Rodney. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We forever thank him for raising in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the personage of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Certainly to them both we are grateful and indebted, in fact, eternally grateful and indebted for the man that they have given to black people. Mercy, grace, and fire for a world of fire, all embodied in a man. That man to us is the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. In their name, please allow me to extend to you the Nation of Islam salutation of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, we are so happy to be here this evening. This is an evening that we need to take the handkerchiefs off our heads and start wiping away the sweat of oppression and come into the cool breeze of salvation. That's what time it is. I just need to get it up a little bit for myself. Well, we can see that the would-be contender is not here, representing the red, white, and blue. But every time we want some serious answers, that's always been the case for black people in America. That's right. The only thing that white people have been consistent in, and we might as well be real about it tonight since we're taking care of family business, the only thing they've been consistent in is their inconsistency when it comes to the lives of black people. There is no premium on our life today unless we put one there. So we are blessed to have a man who has been to the great institutions of learning here throughout the Americas, earning degree after degree, even some of the highest degrees earned in the land, the doctorate degree. That's right. But he was a man who realized that if he left himself at the mercy of the education of our oppressors and our enemy, he would be in need of a doctor. So he went on beyond that. Go ahead, a real doctor today, so that he can minister unto people. Yes, sir. We're going to get busy tonight. Yes, sir. His voice is penetrating, firm, at times even raspy, and yet always musical. His language ranges from highly articulate to street corner gutsy. His presence is forceful, militant, powerful, and yet noble. His sense of humor can have the audience bouncing in their seats with laughter, yet his ability to paint the seriousness and pain of the black experience in America can bring tears to the eyes of his toughest listeners. And his head is shiny, black, and bald. But the most distinctive trait of the handsome and grandiloquent black man is that he speaks for the human rights of black people and all oppressed people around the globe. Minister Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad has seized upon his monumental mission with vigor and enthusiasm. And the result is a fiery oratory that leaves none who hear the message unchanged. Scholar, historian, orator, and activist. He has taught in Pan-African Studies departments both at California State University in Los Angeles and also in Long Beach. He was the recipient of the Ford Foundation Fellowship to do intensive studies at Harvard, Yale, and Columbia Universities. Armed with a Purple Heart and Valor Awards from the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Consciousness Movement of the 60s, he has traveled 6 times on fact-finding and research missions to Egypt, 6 times to Mecca and the Middle East, and 3 times to the city of Jerusalem. He has had first-hand experience. He has seen with his own eyes and has lectured in every major city, town, and township in the Union of South Africa on the subject of liberation for our people. Because of his love and dedication to the liberation and salvation struggle of the downtrodden, the grassroots, the street gangs, and the black masses in general, he is loved and honored for his strong, bold, uncompromising, principled stand the world over. You can hear our brother on the world-famous popular rap group Public Enemy's album, It Takes a Nation of Billions to Hold Us Back. Public Enemy tells the world of their tremendous respect for Minister Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad and how he has been a great inspiration to them in their climb to the top of the chart and in their great quest to raise the consciousness of the black masses. You can see and hear him on Public Enemy's Fight the Power soundtrack video for Spike Lee's blockbuster movie, Do the Right Thing. The rising rap star Ice, Boys in the Hood, Q, of America's Most Wanted and promising bright star of mega movie Boys in the Hood, says Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad opened his eyes and taught him what time it is. You can hear him on Cube's new album called Death Certificate. Since the mid-70s, he has been a presenter at colleges, universities, and major international conferences around the globe. He has traveled and lectured extensively throughout Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. He has served as Minister of Defense and Supreme Captain of the elite force of men known as the Fruit of Islam, under the directorship of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He has served as national spokesman and international ambassador of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He's held the portfolio of national assistant and is walking in the footsteps of both Minister Malcolm X and Minister Louis Farrakhan. Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad serves in the same role in the black movement. He has served as minister of Muhammad Mosque No. 7 based in Harlem and in Brooklyn, New York, and presently serves as the national assistant to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He is a member of the Honorable Marcus Garvey's UNIA's African Communities League, This revolutionary scholar of national and international recognition is a member of the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations and has lectured on most of the American campuses and in Nigeria, Egypt, Ghana, Libya, South Africa, Uganda, Canada, England, France, and Italy, and has hired and inspired audiences in universities all over this land. So I am asking us to get ready to hear a man, that's right, who specializes in spiritual and urban guerrilla warfare. Go ahead. I want you to get ready to hear a man tonight. Go ahead. Courage is his badge of honor. Discipline is his hallmark. The one idea that keeps his heart beating from one second to the next is that the day that our enemies will be brought down to the soles of our feet is an hour that has drawn nigh. Will you join me in welcoming the national assistant to the Honorable?
There's a presentation to be made to him by the craftsman who put it together, which is indicative and speaks for itself. This gentleman is Bill Garland. Please make the presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. Brother Collins, maybe it's a good thing that Mr. Perry did not show today. Because as usual, you're always more than prepared. Last time the Minister Farrakhan was in town, I heard him speak of the Sons of Thunder. The Sons of Thunder. This is your war act. Passed to you.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the world. I bear witness that regardless to land or label or language, there is but one God. All right. We thank that God for coming as it was written and prophesied that he would come.
Yes, sir.
In the scriptures of the Bible, we are told that he would come seeking that which was lost. And we can find no other people fitting the description of the lost brother, the lost sister, or the lost sheep, except we, the 50 million or more mentally and spiritually dead black men and women here in the hells of North America.
Yes, sir.
So we thank Almighty God, Allah, for coming and finding one worthy among us.
That's right. Yes,
that
sir.
he could put himself into that one and make him his black revolutionary Messiah in the midst of a people who are downtrodden, robbed of their name, their language, their religion, their culture, their God, their folkways, mores, and norms. And by the way we act, many of us act as though we've been robbed of our own mind. And so he has come among us, the Messiah of Almighty God, Allah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we turn the sound. And we thank him for his apostle, that one that we believe is the anointed and appointed for this hour of the liberation and salvation of the black nation. I speak of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their name, sir, I greet you. Assalamu alaikum. Alafia, free the land, there it is, and black law for all black people. To the Reverend Ralph Blanks of Mother Zoe United Methodist Church, and to the family of Mother Zoe, we thank you so much for inviting us into your church home and opening your doors and opening your arms and opening your hearts to us and giving us a place of refuge from the storm and the wiles of the oppressor and the enemy who wants to lie but does not want the truth to be told after the lie has been told. To Brother Martin Dias of the Black Student League of the University of Pennsylvania, to Minister Rodney Muhammad, the Philadelphia representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and to you, my beloved and beautiful black brothers and sisters, it is indeed my honor. I was hoping that the devil himself would be here. I was hoping to look him in his cold blue eyes. I was hoping to sit here and stand here with him tonight and feed him to the black lion. I guess he knew he would be coming into a lion's den. And he knew there would not be one likened to the Son of Man in the lion's den with him. And so he didn't come. If you knew him, you would know why we must honor him. Malcolm was our manhood, our living black manhood. This was his meaning to his people. And in honoring him, we honor the best in ourselves. And we will know him then for what he was and is, a prince, our own black shining prince. I want to say that every prince comes from a king. I want to say that we become prince and princess in a royal divine line by virtue of a king and a queen that rules from a throne. I want to say to you here tonight, and this is a forum even with the devil not here. This is a forum that we should have on this day, on the birthday of El Hajj Malik El Shabbat, on the birthday, May 19th, 1992, of Minister Malcolm X, because Minister Malcolm X, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, his life is an exemplary life.
Yes, sir.
His life is a life that is caught up in the liberation struggle of his people.
Yes, sir.
His life has positives. His life has negatives. And we must learn to draw from the lessons of the negatives and draw from the lessons of the positives, that we might be a strong, a positive, a powerful, and a productive people, but a balanced people. No man or woman's life can be really studied until after they are gone on and the period is placed behind their testament. Then we can study them after they have gone on. Then we can begin to analyze them and see them not as we would like to see them, but see them as they really are.
All right.
Nobody can take anything away from Minister Malcolm X. Nobody can take anything away from El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Even at this late hour in his physical absence, a movement is coming up in the streets of America and reverberating around the world based on the teachings that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad put in his head, in his heart, and in his soul. And so Elijah speaks through him. I'm going to talk to you here tonight.
Come on, go ahead.
We will have a question and answer period before it's over. I'm going to talk to you here tonight, and I'm going to go into something that perhaps some of you have not heard before. But we want to study the life of Malcolm X, because this is a life that is the absolute axis and the pivotal point at this point for our unity, because it was in the 60s on that life that a great split and division took place in the black nation. When Malcolm left the Nation of Islam, when Malcolm split with his teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Republic of New Africa was born. When he split, the Panther Party was born. When he split, it was a split that caused us organization to be born. And we saw a young black man, Dr. Comrade Huey P. Newton. We saw a young black man, Dr. Maulana Karenga, who gave us the Nguzo Saba and gave us Kwanzaa. We saw at that split, we saw the Republic of New Africa formed by Brother Gaidi and Brother Imari Abubakari Obadel. The life of Malcolm X was the pivotal point for our division and our splintering and our scattering during the 60s. And when the Malcolm riddle is solved, when the Malcolm problem is solved, then the black nation can begin to come black together again. I want to acquaint you with what is called COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is the counterintelligence program of the FBI of the United States of America. That's right. COINTELPRO, what are the ministers work with on the sound for me, please? COINTELPRO, established by one J. Edgar Hoover. I don't know why Mr. Perry didn't write a book on J. Edgar Hoover. Since he's a bedroom snooper, since he claims to be chasing down homosexuals, how did he miss the great director of the FBI? The director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, an old, rusty, crusty, wrinkled buttermilk complexion peckerwood, died living with his mother. He died living with his mother in a little pink house. I don't know why it had to be big. You have to tell me, honey. Brother Khallid. Can we bring our sound system? We can bring it in. Why didn't you write a book? Since you're writing books. Since you're looking for sissies. Since you're looking for homosexuals. This cracker had the nerve to give us Malcolm back and try to give us Malcolm in a way that he wanted us to see him. They're quick to crucify and to murder our leaders and then give them back to us the way they want us to. They murdered Dr. Martin Luther King. The United States government is responsible for the murder of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They murdered him. And then they give him back to us and they try to reduce him now to a dream. And now they're bedroom snoopers and pulling the covers off of the bed and trying to make us now fall out of love with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Go ahead, Khallid.
They killed Jesus.
Yes, sir.
I said they killed Jesus.
Go ahead.
Right? Wait a minute. When I say they killed Jesus, I'm not talking about no blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. Another scripture says his body would be like jasper. Another scripture says his body would be like fine brass as though it had been burnt. I'm talking about a black man. Write them crackers down over your wall. I'm talking about a black Jesus and a black Mary. His mother was black. That's what I said. The angels were black. The disciples were black. Don't give me no last supper picture here in Philadelphia with 13 crackers sitting at the table. Come on, brother. Then you're going to tell us that God is no respecter of person. We know that. But what about this picture? Where did it come from? Come on. Since there were no Polaroid cameras in those days. Right? No Kodak in those days. Where did the pictures come from? 13 crackers sitting at the table. Where's the Chinese at the table? Where's the Japanese at the table?
Go ahead, Khallid.
Where's the Latino or the Puerto Rican or the Chicano sitting at the table?
Go ahead.
Where's the blue-black African sitting at the table? Right. Where's the woman sitting at the table? That was the Last Supper. No wonder you hungry here in Philadelphia. You don't get nothing to eat that day. Didn't get a thing. But they crucified Jesus.
Yes.
And then they give him back to the world the way they want you to see him. And in the theological seminary of white America today, they tell you that Jesus was a homosexual something. They tell you that he was a wine bibber, a drunkard, and that the reason he hung out with 12 dudes all the time was because something was wrong. These are crazy crackers in seminary trying out their own exegesis of Scripture. That's what Bruce Perry ventured to do. But look at it. Kill our leaders. Then give them back to us the way we want. They want us to see them, and not the way they really are. Murdered Minister Malcolm X. And we will prove that before the night is over. Before this night is over, we will deal with the domestic life of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We will deal with whether he had babies by his young teenage secretary. We will deal with Malcolm's pilgrimage to the holy city Mecca, and we will determine whether he found the when Malcolm was assassinated. We will deal, brothers and sisters, with Bruce Perry's argument that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was jealous of Minister Malcolm X. We will deal with whether the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is an immoral man or a moral man. Right. We'll deal with all of that and then some before the night is over. Come on. We have taught that of all our studies, history is best qualified and most attractive to reward our research. Come on, that if we know what happened to us yesterday, we can intelligently discuss today. Because today is built on yesterday and tomorrow is built on today. Right. And if you know what went down yesterday, you're not likely to let the same thing go down today. History best qualified to reward our research. Minister Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little. All right. Let's go to the blackboard with some white chalk. Somebody has to hold it for me. Malcolm, what? Malcolm Little. We sing a song in the church. There's a man going around taking names. All right. Prior to meeting the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, our great brother Malcolm X didn't know that he needed an X. Right. Now, Bruce Perry wants us to believe that Malcolm was so much smarter and wiser, and some of you in the audience believe that, and we will explore it before the evening is over, that the teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. But you don't understand the African proverb. All right. African proverb says the old man sits down, sits back, looks all around, and sees everything. While the young man, he jumps up, runs all around, and sees very little. The old man's roots run deep. Malcolm was Malcolm Little. May 19th, 1925, Omaha, Nebraska. Bruce Perry attacks Malcolm's family life. That's right. He attacks Malcolm's father. He attacks Malcolm's mother. He attacks Malcolm's brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. He attacks Malcolm's grandparents. Malcolm came, like most of us, from a dysfunctional home. The Bible says that we are born in sin and shaped in iniquity. What are you talking about, Bible? We are born in the sin of the white man's world and shaped after the iniquity of the white man's world. You have to have a dysfunctional home. When you come up a slave in a strange land among a strange people who oppress and afflict you for 400 years, night and day. So we understand Malcolm's home. Yes, sir. We don't have to keep the spotlight in Malcolm's living room. We don't have to keep the spotlight in the home of Malcolm X. The old devil wants us to believe that Malcolm's father was not a great minister, that he was not a great leader in the UNIA, African Communities League of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah God. He wants us to believe that Malcolm's father was a shiftless man, that Malcolm's father was a selfish man, that Malcolm's father would go out and eat and get his stomach full and leave his family at home starving to crack a sail. That's what I said. Leave his family at home starving, he said. He said Malcolm's father wasn't killed by the Black Legion, the Ku Klux Klan of that era and of that particular region. He said Malcolm's father was simply in a big hurry to catch one of the trains. And he ran up to it, and he was so clumsy until he lost his footing and slipped, fell down and busted his head, got his leg almost cut off, and laid on the track and died. Almost. And when he claims he went and talked to the cracker policeman, Now, how are we going to believe this crap? We just got through looking at a video of something that took place March 3rd, 1991. Hell, we all know what we saw. So when the verdict came down, not guilty for the four crackers. Versino, Wynn, Powell, Goon, Coon and the other Goon. These gangbangers. The Darryl Gates gang. We saw the video. But now he goes back and interviews a lying policeman who must be old as hell. So that means he's an old seasoned liar. Been lying a long time. And asked him what kind of police report was filed when Malcolm's father died. He said, well, I took the report. He said, he wasn't no Ku Klux Klan. Wasn't nothing like that. He said the man fell down and busted his head, almost got his leg cut off. That's all happened to old Earl. Wasn't nobody trying to hurt Earl. Oh, Bruce Perry says that Malcolm's father was no threat to the white man. Wait a minute. You're not teaching the teachings of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Right. And you're not no threat to the white man. We're not going for that. The Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey taught one God, one aim, one destiny, Europe for the Europeans, Asia for the Asians, and Africa for the Africans at home and abroad. The Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey taught race first. Race first. I'm going to say it again. Race first. Some of you bootlicking, butt-licking. Some of you half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punkified, pasteurized, homogenized Negroes. You don't believe in race first. Praise Lord, have mercy. Lord, child. Lord Jesus. Lord, I just love it. Everybody. I love everybody. Mr. Garvey said, race first. Well, I don't know. I'm a Philadelphian. Oh, you were black before you were Philadelphia. Well, I don't know. I'm an American. Oh, you were black before you were an American. Well, I got you. I'm an African American. Oh, you were black before you were African. And if you really want to get deep, you were black before you even born. Please, stop it. Come on. Give me a break. Go. Hold on. Doesn't make sense. Mr. Garvey taught a powerful message of liberation. And the Reverend Earl Little was one of the main teachers. How do I know? Because Bruce Perry is not the only one who can do research. I'm a member of the UNIA, African Communities League. At its last international convention held in Los Angeles last August, on the birthday of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. By God's grace, I was called in by Dr. Marcus Garvey, Jr., the son of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, to, in the place of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, deliver the keynote address at the Red, the Black, and the Green Ball. I talked to the elders. I used to go and sit in the home of the former President General who just passed recently, President Charles L.R. James, who was the oldest living member and student of the UNIA. I have sat many days that the Reverend Earl Little is in the minutes of the movie.
All right.
Is in the minutes of the chapter, of that particular chapter that he headed up. They don't say that he was a drunk. They don't say that he was a womanizer. In fact, this Bruce Perry says that Malcolm challenged the most honorable Elijah Muhammad because he didn't have an opportunity to confront his father for being a skirt chaser, and he claims that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was just like Malcolm's father, so he challenged the honorable Elijah Muhammad because he never got that opportunity earlier with his father. And that the two male role models in his life, that both of them were immoral men and no good. Let's look at it.
Let's work with this thing.
You're gonna have to sit back and buckle your seatbelt. This is the subject we gotta work with.
Yes, sir.
He was called Malcolm Little. But he met a man that told him that he was not a little man, that he was a big man, that he was not only a big man, but that he came from the people who are absolutely the father and mother of civilization, the gods and goddesses of the universe. And so when he met this man, Elijah changed his name from Malcolm Little to Malcolm X. Malcolm X Little. Why X Little? Come on. You wearing the X cap. You wearing the X t-shirt. You wearing the X sweatshirt. You waiting for the X movie. And here in Philadelphia, you eating your X potato chips. Right. You got X underwear. X lingerie. You're really getting deep with the X. But what does the X mean? It's not good enough to wear an X that was made by a Korean. That's not good enough. The X means unknown. Unknown. You saw Dr. Haley's roots. Our names are unknown, brothers and sisters. We didn't come here Harry McGillicuddy. We didn't come here Jim Danville Houlihan. We didn't come here Abraham Lincoln Calcutta. We didn't come here Johnny May Hamburger with lettuce and tomato. We didn't come here with these names. These were names that were given to us by our former slave masters. Whichever plantation we were on, we had to wear the name of the cracker who owned us. We were on the Johnson plantation, and every nigger, as they called us, on the Johnson plantation had to wear the name of a cracker named Master Johnson. If we got sold to the Smith plantation tomorrow or next week, every nigger on that plantation had to wear that cracker's name. You remember Kunta Kinte, how his name was changed to Toby? You remember Fanta? And you remember the crazy names of Fiddler and Chicken George that were given to us by the white man in slavery. We are the only people in the world, brothers and sisters, that wear somebody else's name. You say, what difference does it make? I don't want to wear no X. What difference does it make? A rose is a rose by any other name. You call that rose do long enough, it's going to start stinking. Name is very important. When you hear a name determines an entire social order. A name determines an entire social order. I'm in the reception area. You're the executive. I buzz you and tell you that Mr. Pling Ling is here to see you. A social order revolves around in your head. With Mr. Pling Ling is Mrs. Hong Wong. And with Mr. Pling Ling and Mrs. Hong Wong is Mr. Puyong Saki. A social order begins to revolve around in your head. Right after they leave, Mr. Francois Boudreaux comes. Social order revolves around head.
Go ahead, Khallid.
After Francois Boudreaux, Mr. Pedro Gonzalez, and Maria Martinez come in, a social order begins to revolve around in your head. But when it's the people representing the slave and the slave master, you don't know if it's the black brown or if it's the white brown. Come on. Some of you walking around, you blacker than the ace of spades. Some of you walking around, you're so beautiful and black until you're purple black, blue black, blacker than 150 million midnights. Hair so beautiful and messy until it looks like a million black power fists standing up on top of your head. But you're running around here in Philadelphia talking about, I'm Mr. White. This is my wife, Mrs. White. Where did you get a name like that from, fool? These are the names of your former slave master. And so Malcolm received his X. X not only means in mathematics unknown, but X means no longer. X means used to be. Ex-champion, ex-president, Malcolm X Little, the former slave of a white man, the ex-slave of a cracker named Little. X means no longer, and it means unknown. But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teach us that the X also means, after 400 years of slavery, suffering, and death, that the X also means the unknown quantity and the unknown quality that are locked up in the breast, in the chest, in the soul of the black man and black woman. It means that like an atom, you have to be cracked, and that which is in you must germinate and burst forth from you, that we might again be a free, proud, and productive people. X means unknown. But now you're wearing the X. All right. You just saw the X and got excited. But you're here in Philadelphia and you don't want to come to Minister Rodney Muhammad and the experts. So they can express it for you. You just want to wear the X externally, but you don't want to wear the X internally. I've heard about you who wear your X cap and your X sweatshirt and your X t-shirt and you're running around Philadelphia. You left your black woman and you got a white woman on your arm. And got Susie Run Whipple on your arm. You got Kathy Schumacher on your arm. You got Dana Heather. You got her on your arm. But you got your ex on. You just a white man's nigger wearing an X in 1992. You cannot wear an X with the slave master's woman on your arm. Go back to your black woman. Be an ex-chaser of Heather. Leave Heather the hell alone. Bruce Perry focuses on the adolescent years of Minister Malcolm X. He focuses on Malcolm X, the teenager, who lived a wild and riotous life like many teenagers who grow up in hell. You do hellish and wild things in hell, especially when your foster parent is the devil himself. Not his real father, but his foster father, the white man, the devil himself. Again, born in sin, and shaped in iniquity. Born in the sin of the white man's world, and shaped after the iniquity of the white man's world. Brothers and sisters, Malcolm X, at that point, he started trying to get a grip on himself after his father was gone. After, under the pressure, his mother broke, like so many black mothers who have to carry the burden and the strain and the pain of being in hell for 400 years. And so she broke under the pressure. According to all records, a strong woman, a beautiful woman, a woman that held the family together. Other accounts say that Reverend Earl Little had gardens in his yard that he would plant and she would tend to. Bruce Perry, being a fool, attempts to attack this when this is African culture, fool, was going on right in Malcolm's household. Yes, sir. As Malcolm started moving in the streets, and he started moving like many young teenagers do, he started a burglary ring. In fact, Bruce Perry says that he met a young man, or he's not too young now, that he met a man named Malcolm Jarvis. And that Malcolm Jarvis had been in prison with Malcolm for 6 years. First, the old devil, the old no-good cracker. First, he said that one of his students, by the name of Cora, I think her name is, Cora Spencer, wrote a term paper on Malcolm X. And it was Cora Spencer's term paper. It was so good. He said it was what? So good. It was what? So good. He said it was so good until he called her in. I'm here tonight to tell you that her term paper was not so good. Her term paper was too good. And her term paper was glorifying a nigger. And it was lifting up a nigger. And Bruce Perry couldn't stand Cora Spencer writing a term paper that was not so good, but too good and honoring a black man. And so Bruce Perry, in a moment that appears to be a moment of preparation for a crime of passion, driven in his soul, driven in his nature, hateful, outraged, enraged, full of rage. He was compelled to go out. He read the autobiography after she had asked him if he would. She said she had to go on to law school and she couldn't continue that research that he was asking her to continue. And so he read the autobiography, as it is called, of Malcolm X, written by Dr. Alex Haley, who I had the honor of meeting with just a few months before his passing. He read the autobiography. He said, this seems too good. But he says it was by accident that he went out to do just an article or publish something on Malcolm. And there he ran across the prison records of Malcolm. Well, you know you don't just run across the prison records. You got to go and do some work. They got pictures in this book that we're going to burn before the night is over. They got pictures in this book of a little snagger-tooth Malcolm X. Right. I mean, they go all the way back to Malcolm in knee breeches. Right. That's why when they start asking me questions, I say, go and research. All right. Go and find it for yourself. But in the meantime, bring me the best that you got, that you say you've already verified, and I'll show you that what we got from Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan will confound all of them and absolutely shut them. Malcolm left his little black girlfriend and he started hanging out with a little white girl. And then he was in this little white ring. Their boyfriends got wind of this, or husband, or whatever they were, the white men. Ultimately, somebody dimed Malcolm. Malcolm, a young man, ends up on his way to prison, look like he might have to spend 8 to 10 years in the penitentiary. While he's in prison, he's gone through such a life, and during his entire life, you all know, during a certain phase, he was called hustler in the streets. Bruce Perry says he was never a great hustler. In fact, Bruce Perry does not give him credit for really anything. He makes us believe that he's writing a book about the life of a man who changed black America.
Come on.
That's to get you to buy the book.
All right.
You shouldn't buy the book. You should leave the damn book on the bookshelf. If one of you has already bought the book, then that one book should be passed around to be studied. But don't put any money in Bruce Perry's pocket. Right? Let the Peckerwood start. Let the Pecker start. He wants $24.95. You're going to re-assassinate Malcolm, re-kill him, re-murder him, and then make us pay for it. $25 for the book. If you already know, again, share it, pass it around, study it, analyze it, critique it. We must do that. Develop the arguments to answer the book. But don't run to the bookstores to buy this $25 garbage on Malcolm. Not only does he trash Malcolm, his father, his mother, his grandparents, his uncle, his aunt, his brothers, his sisters. He attacks Adam Clayton Powell. He attacks the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Anybody that meant anything to us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he attacks in the book. Well, we don't have to pay for that. Let us move as quickly as we can. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Malcolm went away to prison. He was called Satan in prison. They said Malcolm was so mean and so evil until they gave him the nickname Satan. They didn't say he was a coward in prison. As Bruce Perry tells us, Malcolm was a coward and a homosexual. And then he tries to say, but my book shows you how he grew out of a coward and a homosexual and became this great transformed being. But he knows it's just like in a court of law. Once you have entered certain facts or certain evidence or certain lies into the record, that the jury can never forget that. They don't think just about the transformation. They think about everything else you told them leading up to the transformation. All right. All right? Yes, sir. He's wise enough to know that. Malcolm's brothers and sisters heard the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And they went to Malcolm, telling Malcolm about this great black man who had touched their lives, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. This fascinated Malcolm because his father, Reverend Earl Little, was from Reynolds, Georgia. And now he was hearing about a man who was from Sandersville, Georgia. They told him, Malcolm, the white man is the devil. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, Malcolm, that the white man is the devil. Not a devil, but the devil. There's no devil under the ground. There's no devil under the ground with no red pantyhose that's going to stick you and gild you with a barbecue fork. The devil is on top of the ground. Malcolm said when he heard from his brothers and sisters from the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that the white man is the devil, he said it was like a light bulb that came on in my head. He said everything became clear to me. I could see everything and put it in its proper perspective. Then Malcolm stopped smoking in prison. He stopped drinking the prison brew that was being made behind the wall. He stopped getting high with the behind the walls high that they were passing around. He began to clean his life up. A moral teaching came to Malcolm. A teaching that would give him in prison the meiotic balance that his life was missing. So Malcolm was no longer called Satan anymore. They started calling him Brother Malcolm in prison. he started organizing all of the men in the institution where he was. He started reading the dictionary, reading everything in the dictionary.
Yes, sir.
He increased his vocabulary. He'd read every book that he could get his hands on. He was obsessed with something. Something was compelling him. He was being prepared in a classroom to do a work that he didn't even know about. So Malcolm was in school. But when Malcolm got out of prison, very few organizations would have accepted him. That's right. Very few churches would have accepted Malcolm and given Malcolm a platform to speak from. But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad took him in like a father would take in a son. Right. He taught him face to face and mouth to mouth. He taught him sometimes day, sometimes night. And Malcolm began to drink from the fountain of supreme wisdom of God's divine Messiah in the midst of the people, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. This turned Malcolm on. Malcolm, with an 8th grade education, and the honorable Elijah Muhammad with a 3rd grade education on his way to the 4th grade. With the 8 of Malcolm and the 3 of Elijah, they put America in the 11th hour. The students the son, spiritual son, learning from his spiritual father. Malcolm rolled out over America, Detroit, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, ultimately New York. Malcolm started teaching and organizing an articulate orator with a silver tongue, with a golden voice, and a persuasive manner that did not allow you to get around the word of the messenger of God, but the word of the Messiah of God. You say, well, that makes Malcolm smarter than him. You don't know your book. Some of you go to church and don't know about it. The scripture tells you that Moses, the liberator, was a man slow of speech and slow of tongue. And God had to reprimand him and say, go on in there and deal with Pharaoh. Who made your mouth, Moses? Who made your tongue, Moses? Yes. And if there's a problem, Moses, you got Aaron there. Make Aaron your minister. Aaron became the spokesman and the mouthpiece for Moses. In the 7th chapter, I believe it is Exodus, it says that God Almighty made Moses a god over the people. That's right. And Aaron became his messenger, his man or spokesman who would carry the message to the people. Moses was made a god over the people by Jehovah God, according to the 7th chapter of the book of Exodus. But Moses needed a mouthpiece. That's right. He had the wisdom. He had the guidance from God. He had the Spirit, but he needed one who could articulate it in the language of the people. All right. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad turned Malcolm loose on all across America. Malcolm gained popularity while the teacher and the father was in the headquarters. You'd have to know this man, Elijah Muhammad, what kind of man he was and is. He could sit down in his living room and send you hundreds of miles away to look at farmland. Yes, sir. And you dig your hand down into the land and maybe bring him back a little bit of the soil or the dirt, and he would tell you, buy that and how much you should pay for it. Elijah Muhammad had ships rolling. Yes, sir. To Lima, Peru, South America. Yes, sir. Ships rolling on the high seas to Japan, picking up appliances to bring them back into the black community at a reasonable price. Elijah Muhammad had ships rolling, sailing the high seas, going into northern Africa and Morocco and bringing back cargo for the black community. Elijah Muhammad would sit right there in that living room.
Go ahead, brother. Teach.
Send them out and tell them what to do and how to do
Yes,
it.
that's
what
right.
they would meet with and how to overcome it when it happened.
That's right.
Malcolm was his point man. Malcolm was the best that he had.
Yes.
Malcolm was like the big brother over all of the believers and all of the ministers. And Malcolm had a young, precocious, powerful minister out of mosque number 11 in Boston, Massachusetts, named Louis X. Louis X loved Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Louis X, I've heard him say, and I'll bring it up to date in a minute. Louis X said he admired Malcolm, but he said he absolutely adored him. He said many times, if you study the videos and the old film, you will find Louis X standing at the side of a bold, brilliant Malcolm X, scanning the balconies and watching the doors and watching the windows. Louis X ready to take a bullet for Malcolm X because he wanted Malcolm X to live. I'm talking about Louis X from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm X said, Louis X, Minister Lewis. He said, I love Minister Lewis more than I love my own blood brothers. And young Louis X, you could always find him on fire, beaming and gleaming, happy, applauding, and he's the strongest and the loudest voice in the audience when his big brother, Malcolm X, was speaking.
Yes,
when his big brother, Malcolm X, was at Harvard University handcuffing Negroes and crackers, Louis X was at his side. Wherever Malcolm X went, normally you could find somewhere close or not too far behind Louis X, who is now the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I have talked to him. He said, brother, I never wanted Malcolm's place.
That's right.
I never wanted to be in his place.
Yes, that's right.
He said, I never felt adequate to be in Malcolm, enough to be in Malcolm's place. I didn't think no way that I could walk in Malcolm's shoes. He said, I just wanted to serve at his side because he served our teachers so well. I wanted to help him because he represented the messenger so well. And he said, I never wanted anything that Malcolm had. I could hear the sincerity.
Yes, yes.
Right.
That's right.
I could feel the spirit coming.
That's right, brother.
You say, well, what about the fact that Louis Farrakhan, and I've got that Muhammad Speaks newspaper here with me. What about the fact that Louis Farrakhan said that Malcolm's actions were worthy of death? Well, you can't take it out of context.
Right.
He said his actions would be worthy of death if Allah were not with his messenger and that his messenger was not on point the way he was. If, he said. But now in Bruce Perry's book, let's look at it. I want to put this on the altar. Let me step back down here. Give me a second here.
Take your time.
In Bruce Perry's book, he points out, chapter 54, Elijah speaks. Let's see what Bruce Perry himself says about the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the assassination of Malcolm X. Paragraph 1, line 10. I'm going to have the brothers to turn to that. Well, we got 50. I might as well do this. Elijah Speaks. The first issue of Muhammad Speaks that appeared in 1965, this is page 340 of this damnable book, contained the conciliatory pronouncement that disbelievers are, quote, to be forgiven if they renounce hypocrisy. There was also a declaration that Allah specifically chooses for his mercy whom he pleases. Yet in the next issue, Elijah Muhammad dwelled at considerable length on the faith of hypocrites. He singled out Malcolm, whom he called the chief hypocrite, for particular criticism. He has said everything imaginable against me, Muhammad declared. I will never forget. Though Elijah goes on, Bruce says, though he predicted painful chastisement for those who defied him, he admonished his followers not to kill hypocrites, not to kill disbelievers, not to kill, in other words, Malcolm X. A decree went out throughout the nation of Islam to all of the ministers and all of the captains of the nation of Islam to leave Malcolm X alone.
Yes, that's right.
But now we talked about COINTELPRO, or the counterintelligence program of the FBI a minute ago. In J. Edgar Hoover's counterintelligence program, or COINTELPRO, it says we must stop the rise of a black Messiah.
Right.
We must do what?
Stop the rise of a black Messiah.
We must stop the rise of a black Messiah,
Right.
J. Edgar Hoover said, who can unify and electrify the masses of black people. He says, how will we stop this Messiah? We must discredit him. We must misdirect the followers who follow him. We must do everything we can to neutralize him or to destroy his movement. He says that the denial objective of the FBI, the denial objective of the United States of America is to make sure that this black Messiah who can unify and electrify the militant masses of black people, to make sure that Pan-Africanists are so confused about him, are so hateful toward him, until Pan-Africanists won't even come near. The denial objective is for black nationalists, the counterintelligence program of the FBI says. The denial objective is to keep black nationalists away from this revolutionary black Messiah. The next denial objective, according to the FBI files, and pass me this book on the FBI files, the FBI files go on to say that the denial objective of the United States of America is to make sure that black youth do not fall in love with and follow this black Messiah. How you going to do that, Mr. White Man? We're going to discredit him. We're going to misdirect the people.
Yes.
We're going to tell lies on him. In fact, the FBI in its counterintelligence program has what is called Operation Dirty Tricks.
All right.
Dirty Trick Squad. What do? They write letters. They send letters out to various members creating confusion in households.
That's right.
They send letters from the FBI to the wives of different leaders, the way J. Edgar Hoover called Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in and said, Martin, if you don't back down off of this thing, we got some tapes of you in bed with another woman, and I'm going to send it to your wife, correct? But Dr. King didn't punk out.
That's right.
Dr. King said, I'm going on to do what I got to do.
Right.
You take the tape and go on and do what you got to do. Operation Dirty Tricks of the FBI, COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program of the FBI. They say we must stop black youth from following this one. How you going to do it? We're going to put $30 million behind a movie called Malcolm X, so that millions will flock to the movie. I have the entire script. I don't believe anybody in here got the entire script. If you got the entire script, raise your lying hand. I've had the entire script for a long time. In fact, by God's grace, I had the entire script when many members of the cast didn't have the entire script. Bruce Perry ain't the only one that can catch this berry. Somebody else can get over to the other side too. And in the script, somebody said they may change that part. The movie was opening up with Malcolm X, Denzel Washington, rolling over, turning over in the bed a white woman in a taxi cab. The Jew behind the scenes give $30 million. Ain't no damn Jew gonna give $30 million to praise Malcolm X. You must be a damn fool. Make sure you write it good. Make sure you don't mix it up. We always gotta have one in here. Let's give him a black hand. Make sure he gets a copy of the tape and take it back to Bruce. That other old devil here in town, Herb Homer. I want to debate her. Y'all motherfucker, hide behind the radio. Come on, hide behind the radio. These crackers will hide behind book covers. Hide behind a radio. Hide behind airwaves. Come out in the open, cracker. Come on out in the open. You tell Herb Homer we want to see that Peckerwood. We'll send Herb Homer home. Tail tucked between his legs. Oh, good dirty dog. I didn't come here to tiptoe through the tube. I didn't come here to play no patty cake. I didn't come here to pussyfoot. Be grateful. You see a book like this, you better lift every voice and sing, but you better lift every fist and swing. This is war. Anyway, this is Rodney King week. I'm just coming from the front lines in Los Angeles. ended up catching it. Some of you in 1992 still running around stupid enough to believe that the popular vote elects a president. The popular vote does not elect a president. Boom! The electoral college vote elects a president. In fact, at the Constitutional Convention, right here, they said they did not trust the masses of the people in electing a president. They said the masses of the people were not smart enough. They were too ignorant. They weren't property holders.
Yes, sir.
They didn't have a vested interest in the society enough that they could be trusted to elect the president.
That's right.
So they say we'll make the people think that they elect the president.
That's right.
But after the popular vote is cast, we'll meet in the state headquarters, and the electoral college votes will be cast.
That's right.
You know that you can lose the popular vote and win the electoral college vote and still become president. You running around. We. Lord have mercy. Lord, child. Lord, Jesus.
That's right.
I ain't talking about that old bald head man. Lord, that old bald head man. Lord, we got the vote. We got the vote. You done fought all these years. We got the vote. That nigga's great. I'm gonna vote. Vote for what, fool? Every civil rights game they gave to Dr. King, the crackers turning around taking it back. The white man will give you something with his right hand and turn around and take it back with his left hand. Right? But you Negroes, I wish the Muslims wouldn't leave because I got to go to Mecca in a minute. Come on. I don't want too many of the, especially the Sunni and the Orthodox Muslims to leave, so we got to go to Mecca. Come on. Don't miss the Hajj. Don't miss the Pilgrim.
Go ahead.
Make the great effort to cross the hot burning sand. I'll be there in a minute. I can't do this in no 15 minutes. You can't talk about Malcolm X in 20 minutes. And then Elijah Muhammad. And then Louis Farrakhan. And then you and me. And then go all over to Mecca and Paris and everywhere all over the world. Ain't no 15 or 20.
That's right, Brother Khallid.
Plus you paid $7. You got to get your money. You want a Malcolm X that will help you in your madness. You want a Malcolm X who will give you an excuse to chase white women. Come on. You want a Malcolm X, sister, so that you can chase Bob and Bill and Larry. You want a Malcolm X who went to Mecca and saw something different. Because you didn't really want to go that way anyway. But the message was so compelling. It was so high until you couldn't get over. It was so low until you couldn't get under. It was so wide until you couldn't get around it. You had to come in at the door of Eli. Sing the song, I went to the rock to hide my face. Even the rock was crying out. Ain't no hiding place. You got to come on to Elijah and Bob. Ain't nowhere else to go. Now, forget it. Malcolm was great. Is that right? Malcolm was good. Is that right? Malcolm was wise. Is that right? Talk back to me. Talk back to me. Some of you sitting up in here, you're just so cute. I mean, you're just so prim and proper. I'm not going to cry. I'm just sitting there. You're just as silly as hell. You big, thick African lip holes, you know. Trying to be proper. Wearing your Uchi and Coochie and Gucci. Wearing your silk and your satin. And for the Negroes who can't afford the silk and satin, you wearing the twins, Polly and Esther. I'm here for. Rack you up.
Hey.
You need a race lift. Off in here trying to be cute. Nigga, please. Oh, brother, we love you, but stop it. Just quit. Stop it. Accept your own. Say this before I forget. No matter how great Malcolm was, come on. No matter how brilliant Malcolm was, and he was that. No matter how bold Malcolm was, come on, and he was that. That's right. No matter how strong Malcolm was, and he was that. Yeah. No matter how fearless he was in facing our enemy and oppressor, and he was that. No dead general can lead a living army. That's right. No dead general. Malcolm X's name is written and etched into the cornerstone of the black nation. But no dead general can lead a living army. A living army needs a living general. The white man wants you to go to the graveside of Malcolm and cry crocodile tears over in the grave. Because he knows no dead general can lead a living army. You've got to quit that. That's right. You've got to honor Malcolm. Respect him as the Black Prince. But know that there was a king and a father who was making Black Prince and princess. Right. Huh? But many of you want to accept Malcolm without Muhammad. Come on. You want the student, but you don't want the teacher. You're like some of the crazy Christians now. That's what I said. I don't come in nobody's. I'm not weak in our own. I don't come off in nobody's house and get weak. I didn't say all the Christians. I say some of the Christians. I'm a Christian. I ain't crazy. These ministers of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and honorable minister Louis Farrakhan, they're Christians. At the root of it. Yes, sir. But they ain't crazy. I'm talking about some of these crazy, silly Christians that go into the white man's theological seminary, where they bury the knowledge of the true and living God. They bury the knowledge of the true revolutionary Jesus. And they got you calling Paul. They got a theology now that they call Paulinian theology. Well, hell, what happened to Jesus? Huh? Come on now. They say Paul crawled and beat them all. No, not Paulinian theology. We want to know, thus saith the Lord. We want it straight and pure and strong. But you want the student, but you don't want the teacher. You're just a moon worshiper. All right now. You want to come out at night and pretend that the moon is so bright. But you're ignorant to the fact that the moon, not all of you, if I say anything, let's get this straight right now. Let me get this straight right now. If I say anything you don't like, just say, you ain't talking about me. All right? If your seat gets too hot for you, don't leave. Just raise up, stand it a little bit, and sit down. Good evening. This is the truth hour. Don't you touch that down. This is the truth hour. I didn't come here to conduct a Dale Carnegie course. I came here to tell the truth, whether you like that or not. If you wanted the Dale Carnegie course when you got to 12th and Mellon, you made a right. You supposed to You're in the wrong place. I came to tell the truth here tonight. Because if we can resolve the Malcolm rift, if we can solve the Malcolm problem, then the black family can come together. And all of the rifts and division and enmity and confusion there, we can ferret it out. If we can solve the Malcolm problem, because there is the crucial problem at the heart, the core of the black nation's disunity right now. And we're back to J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI file because he said he would create a situation and a set of circumstances that would so enrage you and confuse you about whatever the program would be of that day and the key leader of your day, the Messiah of your day, until you would back away from him. We want to have nothing to do with it. Listen to that. He's working his plan every day. And some of the most conscious among us are caught up in the plan. And don't even know that you caught up in the plan. That's right. Huh? Yes, sir. Wake us up. You don't know this white. Yes, sir. Yes. You get angry with us when we tell you that he's the devil. You get angry with us. Yes, sir. The devil is a wicked, evil, smart, crooked deceiver. The devil is not always one who just come in talking crazy to you, mowing you down and killing you in cold blood. The devil is also sneaky, conniving, slick, deceit, underhand. He's the master of a science called trigonometry. He has made tricks and lies a science. He's a past master. Come on, man. Tell me I'm not. No. Black as I'm supposed to be. Christmas time, I walk in the supermarket and I'm walking down the aisle and I hear, jingle bells, jingle bells. I take about 4 steps down, I'm jingle bells. I just started a jingle bell tune. Halfway down the aisle. Tell me I'm lying about some of you. Sitting up in front of your TV that you eat Fair Bubakari at Johnny Koo Imhotep. Sitting up in front of your TV and these crackers got you crying crocodile tears and you know it ain't real. Huh? These people are actors. They make you cry when you don't want to cry. They make you laugh when you don't want to laugh. Huh? That's right. These are attributes of the devil. The devil can be strong on one hand and just wide open, or the devil can be liberal. That's right. Conservative or liberal. What did Malcolm tell about the liberal and the conservative? He said the liberal and the conservative is the fox and the wolf. Yeah. And they're both canine, and they both belong to the dog. And either one you choose, you're going to still end up in the dog. The fox and the wolf, the liberal and the conservative. Yeah. What did he teach you in Old Testament Malcolm? He taught you that separation is the only solution. Yeah, that's what he taught you. Yes, sir. Yeah. Separation is the only solution. Come on now. The Declaration of Independence says within the course of human events, and it goes on to say that two people have decided that they must sever the ties that have connected them in words and cast off the bands that have joined them together in words. It goes on to say that if there is a long train of abuses and tyranny and usurpation, that it is the right, it is the duty of the people to alter or to abolish that government and to establish a new government, meaning a nation. Yeah. You used to say it in the 60s. What time is it? Nation time. What time is it? Nation time. What time is it? Nation time. Some of you Negroes don't want no nation. You want Washington, D.C. You want 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You want the White House. Told you it was the White House, fool. wrap it up quickly. So Malcolm, brothers and sisters, Malcolm roaring out all over America teaching. Now, a major event takes place. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the president of the United States of America, who Malcolm called Old Foxy Johnson, meaning Old Tricky Johnson. John Kennedy gets assassinated. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad sends out a communique to all of his ministers saying, do not make any mention of Kennedy's death in the public. Leave that subject alone. The ministers who are here today, Minister Kadir from Newark, Minister Jamil from Baltimore, Minister Conrad from New York, Minister Rodney here from Philadelphia, and other ministers who are here. We received a similar communique from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan during the so-called Persian Gulf War.
Yes, sir.
We were told make no mention of it in public, cancel all college, university, and public speaking events.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
That's right.
Malcolm was the only minister that broke with those instructions. You say, well, what do you mean? He got to follow everything he said? That's Malcolm X. He ain't got to do what he said. Malcolm said Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, taught me what I know, made me what I am. And if you would listen to the tapes of Malcolm X unedited, every other word or sentence almost, he said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, Mr. Muhammad teaches us. But now they've edited the tape. That's why they go up and come down and fade in and fade out. You say, what's happening with this? They've taken all of that out. Taken it out. How do we know? We got the original tape. We got the original tape. You can order them from the Final Call newspaper. We've got Malcolm's original tapes. Let Malcolm's own tapes, Malcolm in his own words, speak for himself. Bring Malcolm to the witness stand. Malcolm believed in the establishment of an independent divine government under God and black nation for black people called the kingdom of God that is to be established here on this earth. He believed that black people are the chosen people of God because this is what he was taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that we would be the cornerstone of a new world order, not that stuff Bush is talking about. And so Malcolm believed that he was a minister, not an imam alone, but inherent in that, you can also find the duties of an imam, but he's minister. He poured himself into that. Yes, he did.
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, he did.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm spoke at Manhattan Center in New York. He got through his lecture fine. He made no mention of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, but there's at least one devil in every crowd, right? At least one. Do you know why the devil comes when we have meetings like this? Come on. The devil comes to see how wide awake you are, so that he can go back and report. The niggas are waking up. Look. Gee whiz, Bill. They almost tore the roof off the place down there, Bill. Look, Bill. Gee whiz, guy, we're losing our grip. They had the damn meeting right there in that storm in United Methodist Church. You know we always had our nigger preachers in check. They got another nigga down there named Blake. What's his name? He let him in the church. When they come for him, every one of you should stand with a pole. Jesus was talking about when they talked about in the scripture referring to Jesus. They called him the Good Shepherd.
Yeah.
They say the Good Shepherd is not a hireling.
That's right.
He's not just there for money. The Good Shepherd will watch over the black sheep. I ain't talking about no rap group. This or that. This is kind of fact. Is the kind of pastor who models and shapes his pastoring after Jesus, the black revolutionary Messiah, the Good Shepherd. And he looked over the flock, looked over the black sheep, so that the white wolves can't come in and eat the black sheep. Back him up. Support him. No matter what church you go to. And I'm sure Minister Rodney Muhammad will do the same. Come and visit with him this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Come and sit with him. Pack his church from the rafters, from the front to the back, from the top to the front. Let the cracker know we stand with our pastor. We back him up. We support him. Let him know that if you move on Reverend Blanks, you move on. We're hooking up today. There's a network today. We're hooking up like the organs and systems of the body that are joined together by a delicate nervous system. Yeah. That if you step on the toe, the fifth feels. We're hooking up today. Finish this up. Well, there was one devil in the crowd. You thought I lost my Been to the White House and been back, been to City Hall and back, been to the rabbi's place and on my way back. Now let's pick up where we left off. Manhattan Center. Been to Manhattan Center, but now we got to go right back. Smart devil, white man stood up in the audience. Minister Malcolm, what about the murder, the assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy? Malcolm, I'm sure, without thinking, so quick to answer, always ready to accept a challenge. I don't know what happened, but many times I agonize over that moment in Malcolm's life. A man's life that was so beautiful, so exemplary, and that one moment was the turning point in his entire life.
Think of it.
After all of the good that he had done. But God has a way of working. The old folks say God works in mysterious ways. Jesus crucified. More people claim him now than when he was alive. Malcolm assassinated. And more people now are coming to the truth and making their way through the door of Malcolm to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our ultimate liberation and salvation, that when Malcolm was on the scene giving his heart, mind, body, and soul and total being for it. And so Malcolm answered. He said it's a case of the chicken coming home to roost. He said, in being a farm boy, chickens coming home to roost never made me sad, always made me glad. And the white man started writing. It hit the headline. Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad's spokesman, says that the president's death is a case of the chickens coming home to roost. What did Malcolm mean? Malcolm meant that what John Fitzgerald Kennedy got is what he deserved. Did Malcolm lie? No. Malcolm told the truth. 100% truth. But the truth spoken out of turn and out of season can be worse sometimes than telling a lie, or worse sometimes than keeping your mouth shut. powerful enemy, great general, great posse or army backing him up, caused a lot of casualties and fatalities among our people, killed men, women, children, and babies. We got him in an ambush. We got instructions to wait until we see the white of their eye. We got instructions. Wait until they're within 75 yards of range. One of the zealots in the group sees it. He's so excited. He's so emotional. He's thinking about the blood of our men, our women, our children, and our babies. He's about to do the right thing. And he's about to do it at the wrong time. He's 150 yards away. The order was wait until he's 75 yards away, because the one who gave the order is a strategist. The one who gave the order is a master of the gift. The one who gave the order understands maneuvering and strategy and terrain. Understands the art of war. The one who gave the order understands that when you're fighting the enemy, that you make a noise in the east and you strike in the west. The one who gave the order understands that you avoid strength and you strike weak. The one who gave the order understands that when the enemy appears to be strong and powerful, sometimes you appear to be weak and appear to retreat. But when the enemy appears to be weak or asleep, you advance and take your case. The one who gave the order said, wait until he's 75 yards within range. And wait until you see the white of their eye.
All right.
But the zealot fires at 150 yards. He strikes the great general dead between the eyes and kills him. But the rest of his troops turn heels and make another maneuver, and they're out of range and out of reach. If he had waited till 75 yards and struck at that point, we would have got the general, and we would have gotten all of them who have caused so much hell and havoc and heartache, pain and hurt among our people. So Malcolm fired his shot. His shot met the mark. His shot was on target. But he shot at a time when he was told to hold his peace. So the most honorable Elijah Muhammad called him in. He reprimanded Malcolm, the head of the nation, called his diplomat in, called his statesman in, called his ambassador in, called his minister in, because Malcolm was about a government.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm wasn't with no club. Malcolm wasn't with no organization alone. Malcolm was building a nation under his leader and teacher's guidance from Almighty God. Malcolm went in to meet with his teacher and the leader of the nation, the head of the nation, the president general of the nation. He went in to meet with the commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief said, Malcolm, you broke with orders.
Yes.
You broke with instructions. I'll have to silence you, Malcolm, for 90 days.
That's right.
I won't put you out of the nation, but I want you to be silent for 90 days. What does that mean? That means you can talk, but you cannot speak publicly, nor to the press, nor in the mosque number 7 in Harlem at 116th and Lenox Avenue. I want you to be quiet for 90 days, Malcolm. Now, what does the teacher have in his mind? At the same time, the teacher is testing Malcolm. You see, it's easy to walk with a man in the cool of the day. Hard as hell to walk with him in the heat of the evening. If Osachifo Kwame Nkrumah would have tested the loyalty of his followers before he went off to Hanoi in Vietnam, when he came back in 66, I believe it was, then there wouldn't have been a coup. If Patrice Lumumba had tested the loyalty of his followers, and he knew them and put them under test and trial, Patrice Lumumba would not have been such an easy target for the United States government and the CIA-backed forces that ultimately killed him.
Come on.
Every wise leader must test the loyalty of their followers to see where they are.
All right.
If you rub this way, which way will you go? If you rub that way, which way will you go? If you do this while I'm around, what will you do after I'm gone? So Elijah Muhammad tested Malcolm. Malcolm took the 90 days, but the white man was working on it. What you don't understand is this wicked beast. You don't understand this damn devil. psychologists, boy stress analysts, they studied Malcolm. And they determined his strengths and his weaknesses. And they determined how to exploit. And so they started making fun of Malcolm. They said Elijah Muhammad had spanked Malcolm X. He set him in a corner, put a dunce hat. They started working on Malcolm's ego.
Yeah.
At the height of Malcolm's career,
Listen.
he was sat down by his teacher. Teacher watching. Why did you do him like that, Elijah Muhammad? Because I want Malcolm to sit in my seat while I'm gone. When I leave off of the scene, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying, Malcolm is the man that I trust over the nation. Malcolm is the man that I trust the salvation of my people with. I've taught him more than I've taught anybody.
Teach, Khallid.
I've spent more time with him than I've spent with anybody.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
now I got to test him for character, character flaws.
Listen.
I got to probe the depth of his soul.
Go ahead, Khallid.
I got to see if he's worthy of sitting in the seat.
Come on.
While I'm gone.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
So they tested now. And they worked on now. But at the same time, J. Edgar Hoover was working too.
That's right. Come on.
FBI agents came in and put on white shirts. They were already there. We've got FBI files that go way back to 57, 54. Bruce Perry says in his book here, Bruce Perry says in his book that the counterintelligence program of the FBI didn't even start page 373, that it didn't even start until 2 years after Malcolm. Well, they might not have called it COINTELPRO, fool. Same flavor, just a different label. J. Edgar Hoover was on the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey's case. Before that was an FBI when he was working under the Justice Department.
All right.
He later made the FBI. So yeah, you can say COINTELPRO, but the likes of COINTELPRO already in effect. Full effect. All right. Please bear with me. Take your time. Please, we're almost there. The thing that I'm going to touch tonight, you've never had us to come in front of you and get on the hot seat and go into these issues with you.
All right now.
That you wanted to question us on and probe us on. I'm going to leave no holds barred. And during the question and answer period, whatever you want to ask about his domestic life, the secretary, the Mecca, and all of this, the murder, the assassination, you'll be welcome and free to do that. Okay. Malcolm decides that there's also pressure in the house. And there was pressure now. FBI agents had started putting on white robes and headpieces, white shirts and suits and bow ties and string ties. They were saying, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Some of them were military. Some of them were captain, lieutenant, squad leader, section leader. Some of them were over the baby in the University of Islam. Some of them were in the Secretary's Department with all of our records and bookkeeping, sending it straight to the enemy, right in the ranks of our people. These Toms, these boot-licking, butt-licking Toms, these rats and stew pigeons. You see them out there in Los Angeles, telling and snitching on our brothers and sisters. If you weren't in the rebellion, if you weren't in the revolt, then that's your business. But if somebody else was, you keep your mouth shut. You don't go down in 911. These snitches, agents, joined all of the black organizations. They joined the Civil Rights Movement, FCLC, the Urban League, NAACP, FBI agents right inside the organization. Then there was some chicken-hearted, jealous-hearted niggers in the Nation of Islam. Just weak niggers. Just evil niggers. Just jealous Malcolm would speak all over the country, and you couldn't read nothing in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. It was though he wasn't saying a word. But the New York Times would have him in the New York Times. What is it here? The Philadelphia Inquirer would have him. The Baltimore Sun would shine on him. All of them. The LA Times would write about him. The Sentinel, the Herald Dispatch, the Baltimore, was it Afro-American? They would write about him. The Amsterdam, I'll be damn news. They write about him. All of them would write about him. But the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, which Malcolm X helped start, they wouldn't write nothing about Malcolm at that time in the newspaper. This hurt Malcolm. He was working his heart out, and he didn't understand what was happening. Then, while he was busted during the 90 days, they all converged on him. Everybody now. The big man was down. They closed in on him, picking at him, jugging at him, talking about him, undermining him, talking behind his back, backbiting him, calling him a hypocrite. Come on. All of this. Malcolm left the Nation of Islam after 90 days. He said, I'm leaving the Nation of Islam, but I will be back. But I feel that I can do more right now from the outside than I can do from the inside. And so he left. He started the Muslim Mosque Incorporated in the Teresa Hotel. Then later he started the OAAU, the Organization of African American Unity, to separate the religion, as he said, from the politics. That his religion was Islam and his politics was black nationalism. Malcolm had now started on something that had been worrying him for a while, but he had somewhat forgotten. Way back, Malcolm wanted to marry a sister in the nation. I won't call her name here, but we all know her, that know her. And quite a few of us in here know her. Malcolm wanted to marry her. This is before Sister Betty, Dr. Betty Shabbat. And this is to take nothing from Dr. Betty Shabbat. Malcolm was such a man, so caught up in the struggle and the movement, he didn't do things in an ordinary way. Like everybody else, they were just free, fancy, free running around. He was committed. So Malcolm got her on the staff in Chicago at headquarters, at our Black House, and didn't tell her really that he wanted to marry her. He just put her there, he figured for safekeeping, put her in the safe deposit box, and he'd go on back to the church. When he had a minute, he'd go back and get her. But the next thing Malcolm heard was that this sister that he loved dearly had become a wife of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He could have halfway dealt with that because maybe he would have still held on to some hope or dream that he could have still got back. But then he found out that she was pregnant for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You with me? Yeah, we showed it. What took you so long? That's what I've been waiting to hear. Yeah, I'm with you. Let me sit up here. That's the way we are. We just as crazy as hell. Somebody can come with all kind of wisdom and science that will make us free and independent. We'll get both. You don't seem like a boy out here, so we will. Somebody can come to you and tell you, do you know that so-and-so just discovered a cure for AIDS? Did you know that? Not only that, but they're working on something that will make the condition of black people with the sickle cell trait much better. So, yeah. They come to you and say, do you know that so-and-so like little boys? You say, what? Like little boys? Tell me about that.
That's right.
We just feel it. tendency to lead in the wrong. For people who think it's all right to do wrong and all wrong to do right. That's us. So, Malcolm, brothers and sisters, in love with this sister. Now she's pregnant for his father and his teacher. This is like a dagger in his heart. But he didn't tell his teacher. He didn't make his teacher to understand before any of this happened what his desires were. His teacher had no way of knowing. So his teacher marries the only woman that he loved at that time. And he probably never forgot her. But Malcolm understood Scripture. Yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the most Honorable Elijah.
Right.
A man who Bruce Perry was not an immoral man. No man who inspires such morality and ethics and righteousness and clean living in a people as Elijah Muhammad could be an immoral man.
That's right.
Did he have other wives? Yes. Did he have little teenage girlfriends? No.
That's right.
Malcolm understood the Scripture. Malcolm understood the Bible. Malcolm understood the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran says that a Muslim man in the East, we don't practice it here in the West, that a Muslim man in the East can have as many as 4 wives under certain conditions. It is not the rule of Islam, it is the exception according to certain conditions, war and the declaration of the rights of men and the like. And so that women will not be left just in the society. It is every woman's God-given right to be loved, and to be able to love, and to be secured and maintained, and to have the relationship of a divine family, if that is her choice. So polygamy was established as an exception and to correct certain social problems and social ills. Malcolm understood this. According to the 33rd chapter and the 66th chapter of the Holy Quran, it says that Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, the Prophet Muhammad of 1,400 years ago in the desert of Arabia, the Arabian Prophet Muhammad. I want you to get these two Muhammads straight. The Muhammad of 1,400 years ago in Arabia, some reports say he had 11 wives. Some reports say he had 9 wives. Malcolm understood this. It says that Prophet Muhammad married a 9-year-old girl named Aisha. But they say he did not have a relationship or conjugal relationship with her. Some scholars say until she was 11. Some say she was 13. I say, I don't know what to say.
Wake us up.
And I say that if God's hand was guiding it, what in the hell could I say? He married a 9-year-old. I never heard Malcolm X stand up and criticize Prophet Muhammad of Arabia for having 11 wives. I never hear any account of Malcolm X, nor Walid D. Muhammad, the son of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, attacking Prophet Muhammad, the Arabian prophet, for marrying a 9-year-old girl, because it is believed that God's hand and his active will was guiding this.
Come on.
So Malcolm kept it in that perspective. Wallace D. Muhammad kept it in that perspective on the Arabian prophet.
All right.
But on the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the man who got his behind out of jail, the man who taught him what he knew, the man who taught him he was a Muslim and got rid of his slave named Little and gave him the X. Right? Prophet Muhammad had never done anything for Malcolm, the Arabian prophet. But he held him in high regard. He kept his actions his teacher because he was personally hurt. Personally hurt. He attacked his teacher. And the son of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Wallace D. Muhammad, is the one who led him into that. Wallace D. Muhammad brought a couple of sisters to Chicago also that became secretaries. We know them. I won't call their names. He wanted to marry one of them. Next thing he knew, all of them were the wives of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So this hurt Wallace Muhammad once, twice, three times.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I mean, he was hurt, if you know what I mean. But he understood Bible and he understood that Holy Quran. But these were personal feelings.
Yes, sir.
This was personal pain. Malcolm could handle it all those years. And then Malcolm started getting angry with his teacher for sitting him down at the height of his career. And so then Malcolm and all of the hypocrites and the envious ones and the jealous ones and Muhammad speaks, wiping him out of the news and all of that, it started hurting him. And then Malcolm stood up and Malcolm started going among the followers. He called in Louis X. Started telling him about the most honorable Elijah Muhammad having other wives and having children for those wives. Well, look, let's get this straight. If the man had wives, having children is automatic.
Right.
I mean, that's a moot subject.
Right.
The purpose for having wives, fool. Yo, what's up? Ain't nobody here that don't know that. Even Bruce knows that. Well, Bruce, we sure miss you, guy. Brothers and sisters, Malcolm, brokenhearted, started talking among the believers. He called Louis X in. He said, Brother Louis, did you know that so-and-so, and such and such, and that the messenger, or the apostle, has these wives or these secretaries, and that he has children by them? What do you think, Brother Louis? Young Louis X, now Farrakhan from Boston, Massachusetts, he said, I think that there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his message.
Yes, sir. That's what he said.
That's what he said. He looked at him. He was shocked at his answer because that's his little brother. Young Louis X said he left crushed, hurt, almost destroyed. He didn't know what to do. He went home. He said he couldn't sleep. He saw his wife sleeping in the bed. He said he just wished he could sleep like she did. Something told him to go and get his Quran. He went to his Holy Quran and he opened it to the 33rd
Yes,
chapter.
sir. Yes, sir.
Started studying and he went to the 66th chapter. He jumped up, got transportation and went back to meet with his big brother, Malcolm.
That's right.
He said, I got it, Brother Malcolm. I got it, Brother Minister. I found it in the Quran. I found what the prophecy says about the messenger having more than one wife and having children in the section in the Quran on the domestic life of the prophet or the messenger.
Yes.
Malcolm said, I know that.
That's right.
He said, but you can't handle that.
Yes, sir.
He said, you leave that alone.
Yes, sir.
You let me teach that.
That's right.
Then he looked at young Louis X. And he knew that Louis X was going to report him to the teacher. And he said to him, if you would just hold up, Brother Louis, with your report to the messenger. No, he said, Brother Louis, don't tell anybody what I told you.
Yes, sir.
Young Louis X looked at him and said, I won't, Brother Minister, nobody the message. Right. Now, Bruce Perry takes this to mean that Louis X had turned on his friend.
No, sir.
Turned on his big brother. But the little brother might have felt that if the father knew, he could help the big brother before it was too late. And so he went and told the father. Ultimately, he told the father. Malcolm asked him to let him get a letter off to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad first. So it comes to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's attention what Malcolm is saying. Later, Malcolm went all out into the world. He went on radio. He went on television. He went on white people's shows. And he sat with white people and talked about what the man that he knew was the devil was his enemy and his father and teacher and Messiah's enemy. He sat with them and told them the inner workings of the nation of Islam. You heard some of the tape. You say the black Muslim movement, Elijah Muhammad and the black Muslims, they're doing so and so. Elijah Muhammad and the black Muslims inside of the black Muslim organization, they're doing so and so and such and such. Some reports say that he even met with the FBI and gave them certain reports about, because he wanted to crush that which had hurt him. He became bigger than the movement. All right. Bigger than the struggle. Bear with me. Yes, sir. For a few more minutes, please. Go ahead. And so ultimately, every Muslim became a potential murderer of Malcolm. See, you don't know what that's like. That's right. You've never loved a man that's right. The way the Muslims love Elijah Muhammad. Right. You've never been committed to anything that hard. You've never been that rooted in anything. Right. You've never believed that strongly in anything. Right. Elijah Muhammad told us to go and lay down at the airport, at the Philadelphia airport, and peak traffic with all the planes were landing. You find us on our way to the airport to lay down on the road. That's right. He told us to go in the judge's chamber and hit somebody. You find us stepping off in the judge's chamber. Right. That's right. That's right. You put them under our arrest. And arrest the judge too if he get in the way. Right. You've never been a part of anything like that. Right. So when Malcolm went out and attacked his teacher, every Muslim became a potential murderer. But they were all under instructions, leave Malcolm alone. But agents, FBI agents, we know you're here tonight. We know you're here. We've been looking at you. All right. We can tell the way you part your hair. We can tell the kind of grease you use in your scary curl. Your wig is crooked. Tilt it to the left. Straighten it up. Careful how you move your hands right now. You rat and snitch on the legitimate aspirations of your people who are yearning to breathe free. Right. You used to get away with that in this country. That's right, Doc. But in the 90s and in the 21st century, if we can't bring you around, we're going to put you in the ground. You're not going to rattle you. That's right. Sell your people out for the white man. That's right. Come and sit up in here among us. White man does not need you, fool. He's listening to the meeting right now saying, you're the one here in danger. Now, we can burn the book and burn you to ashes. And then put you in the commode, your ashes in the commode, and flush you down there. Your ashes don't deserve. I didn't say that other word. I say your ashes. Your ashes don't deserve to be scattered over the earth. All right. As we go to wrap it up, here, brothers and sisters, at this juncture, which is most critical and crucial, we've gotten up to the point now where the Muslims are told to leave Malcolm alone, but there are agents in the Nation of Islam in key positions. The FBI files bear witness.
That's right.
They bear witness. Right. So they were spreading other talk in the nation. They were saying, look, Malcolm should be killed. Look what he's doing to the man. You already got your instructions. Your instructions from the leader, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, is leave Malcolm alone. So February 21st, 1965, Malcolm is to speak at the Audubon Auditorium. A week prior to that, his home was firebombed. Malcolm had started saying that it was the Muslims who firebombed his home. You've seen him on video saying it. He said the Muslims were trying to kill him. But at another point, July 1964, Malcolm was at the Cairo Hilton. At the Cairo Hilton in Cairo, Egypt, or Kemet, and Malcolm was food poisoned in Cairo. Not Cairo, it was a little further than that. And Malcolm had to be gotten up they had to get him up in the middle of the night and pump his stomach out and rush him to the hospital. He was the only one food poisoned in the Cairo Hilton. Malcolm started saying, according to Haley and others, that the CIA and government intelligence had him under an international conspiracy, and he started seeing agents following him and popping up with him all over Africa, the so-called Middle East, and everywhere he went throughout Europe and the United States. So Malcolm said, when he got ready to go to France, he went to France February 9th, 1965. They wouldn't permit him in France when he had been there. There were rumors he was going to be assassinated, and the French didn't want him killed on French soil. It was said that the CIA had put pressure on France to keep him out of there. Malcolm said, this is bigger than the black Muslims.
Right.
He said, I know the black Muslims. He said, when the black Muslims come to kill you, can't nobody protect you from a black Muslim except another black Muslim. He said, but I helped teach the black Muslims their tactics. I helped teach them, and I know how they move. And this is bigger than the black Muslim. He said, I'm going to stop accusing the black Muslims.
Right.
This is the government that's after me.
Right.
Malcolm had talked about taking America before a world court. Taking America before the United Nations. Some of you make a big thing out of that. What is that?
That's right.
Go ahead. Go before the United Nations.
Go ahead.
I understand it. I respect Malcolm wanting to go before our brothers and sisters.
Wake us up.
But the United Nations is a paper tiger. The United Nations has no teeth. United Nations can't enforce anything. Taking America before the world court, the United Nations, that's like Frank James sticking you up and take your wallet, and then you go to Jesse James and tell Jesse that Frank got your wallet. And then Frank is going to ask, did he leave anything? You can't take the criminal to the criminal, fool. Rodney King should have proven that to you. There's a criminal justice. All right, we almost there. A long life. A long life. But it would have been this long if you would have had two of us here, rebutting and all of that.
We don't get to see that off. Go ahead, Doctor.
I got it. Tomorrow will be May 20th. So we got to finish this on Malcolm first. The way you going, you sure better hurry. It's going to be May 20th. All right, we almost there. I want to cover Brother Norman 3X Butler, Brother Thomas 15X Johnson. I've had the opportunity of meeting one of them since they've been out of prison and talking to them in New York. In Bruce Perry's book, he says a Brother Benjamin, I believe Brown, was shot by Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson. He says Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson were lieutenants of Captain Joseph of the FOI at number 7 in New York. Right. Known lieutenants of Captain Joseph. Known enforcers of Captain Joseph, according to Bruce Perry. He said that they were arrested for the shooting of Benjamin, I believe, Brown it was. All right, now let's be clear. They say, Bruce Perry, he says that Norman 3X, Brother Norman 3X, and Thomas 15X, Brother Thomas 15X, at one point were bodyguards around Malcolm X when he was in the nation. But that Malcolm, Bruce says it in his book, became leery of Norman 3X and Thomas 15X, and he felt that they were spies for Captain Joseph. And so he dismissed them from around him. Did you hear what I said? Yes, this is going to be a very critical point in a minute, because it was Brother Norman 3X Butler and Brother Thomas 15X Johnson that were picked up. Brother Norman almost a week after Malcolm was killed. Brother Thomas almost a week and a half after Malcolm was killed. They were picked up for Malcolm's assassination. Now I want to ask you some logical questions. In an audience no bigger than this audience, not even quite this big, Sunday, February 21st, 1965, how could Brother Norman 3X Butler and Brother Thomas 15X Johnson, who everybody knew were lieutenants of Captain Joseph inside Mosque number 7, who Malcolm had already dismissed when he was minister over number 7, and said he didn't want him around him, and everybody knew that it was in the news that they had been arrested for shooting the man named Benjamin, how could they walk into the Audubon Auditorium through this door right here? And everybody not see it, or through that door right there. Malcolm's bodyguards, many of them were members of the Newark Mosque and members of the New York Mosque. They all knew Brother Norman 3X Butler. They all knew Brother Thomas 15X Johnson, and they knew that they were strong men that would take care of business. Huh? All right. So when they walked in the door, everybody would have said, no, you're not coming in here. Wait a minute. You're not in here. Everybody, they said, look, it's Norman, man. Can't trust it. That's real. Can't trust it. They would have converged on the door. Might have been a fight or a shootout right at the door. But rest assured, Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson wouldn't have walked in that door. Because everybody knew them, and they were already fighting a case right then, which had come out in the media. You with me? Yes, sir. The Bible says, let us reason together. I'm going to try to free you from the FBI tonight. I'm going to try to free you from the counterintelligence program of J. Edgar Hoover tonight. I'm going to try to loose the chains on your brain so you can see the black Messiah clearly and get out of the vice grip of the enemy. And the family can begin to come together and heal and build. All right. Malcolm, according to Alex Haley, according to Malcolm's assistants, and even Bruce Perry, the hour before his assassination, that Sunday, February 21st, 1965, at the Audubon Auditorium, Malcolm paced back and forth in the back room before he came out. He then sat in a chair. He said, this is bigger than the Muslim. This is bigger than the black Muslim. When I go out there today, it's in the book, both of them. He said, when I go out there today, it's in Haley's book, too, in the autobiography of Malcolm X. He said, when I go out there today, I'm going to tell the people that it is not the black Muslims who have been making these hit attempts on my life, that it is the government. This is much bigger than the black Muslims. He said, I'm going to reveal some of the key people that I think are involved. Another brother, Benjamin, I don't know if it's the same one or not, was introducing Malcolm. And as he introduced Malcolm, Malcolm stepped out. Malcolm stepped out to give the greeting, Assalamu alaikum. And as he gave the greeting, then a diversionary tactic was used.
That's right.
It was made to appear that somebody was going into the pocket of another person, and that got everybody's attention. And as they started scuffling, and Malcolm said, brothers, in words, don't do that, brothers. As everybody focused on them, death started running down the aisles and coming out from under their coats with handguns and shotguns. Question: how did they know that they could get in that day and they wouldn't be searched? Because off and on, Malcolm's group had been searching. Malcolm had said he didn't want that kind of pressure on the people when they came out to the meetings, but off and on, they were searching. How did they know that day they could come in with shotguns and nobody would check? There's nowhere on earth Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson could have showed up with shotguns. Even if they let them in, they would have asked them to open their coat. Because normally when they showed up, something was wrong. Right. And they came to correct it. Right. Whatever it was. Death ran down the aisle. Opened fire on Malcolm. Riddled his body. Murdered him in cold blood. A man rushes to the rostrum. Rushes to the podium. Leans over Malcolm. Starts giving him what appears to be artificial respiration. That man is Gene Roberts. Spike talks about him in his movie, and Spike didn't even know who he was. He called him Brother Eugene. Maybe by now somebody has pulled Spike's coat, you know what I'm saying? Somebody pulled his coat. Brother Eugene. Eugene Roberts is an FBI agent. Let's go here for a minute. Brothers and sisters, I want you to reason with me on this. Undercover agents and policemen were in the audience when Malcolm was killed. Question: why didn't they jump up with their service revolvers and engage the assassins in open gunfire in the Audubon Auditorium? How do we know they were present? Let's see. Good question. A high police official said, as reported in the Herald Tribune, February 24, 1965, that several members, how many? Several members of the highly secretive Bureau of Special Services boss were present in the audience at the time of Malcolm's killing. According to police officials, there were policemen outside also. A patrolman was stationed outside the ballroom. The New York World Telegram reported February 22, 1965. A high police official, after doing what? Confirming that police agents were planted inside of the meeting, added, and there were a couple of uniformed men outside. The Herald Tribune reported February 23, 1965. Deputy Police Commissioner Walter Arm said February 22, 1965, that a special detail had been assigned outside of the ballroom. Assistant Chief Inspector Harry Taylor, in charge of the Manhattan North Uniform Police, said February 21, 1965, that 2 sergeants and 18 patrolmen had been stationed in the area. The New York Times reported on February 23, 1965. Again, question: if the police were present, a crime was being committed, why didn't the police jump up in the audience with their service revolvers and attempt to arrest or engage or kill the assassins of Malcolm X, or the would-be assassins of Malcolm X? Gene Roberts leans over him, pretends that he's giving him artificial respiration. Eugene Roberts, a member of Boss and Bruce Perry, interviewed him and tells you in the back of his book very definitely that Eugene Roberts is an undercover agent. Bruce Perry admits it in his book. But Bruce Perry tries to say that the United States government had nothing to do with Malcolm's murder. Nothing. He's sure of that. That the government conspiracy theory, he calls But these questions I'm asking you, I know they hold someone.
Yes, sir.
I know they make you think. How do we know Eugene Roberts other than the fact that now it's admitted? Because when Brother Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed in the Black Panther Party in Chicago, Eugene Roberts popped up in the trial of the Black Panther Party.
All right now.
How do we know agents were in these organizations? Because when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by the government, it was an FBI agent and informant that was seen leaning over him, bending over him, pretending to be giving him artificial respiration.
Come on.
Read Mark Clark and Dick Gregory's book, code name Zorro, on the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the government's role in Dr. King's
All right, wake us up.
Huh?
That's right.
Now, here's another key point. Reuben Francis, who had just come into the movement a few weeks ago, was supposed to be one of Malcolm's top bodyguards. He just showed up. You with me? Talmadge Hagen, or Talmadge, a.k.a. Hayer, who is one of the admitted assassins of Malcolm, who was not a Muslim, was not a member of the Nation of Islam, but claims he is a Sunni Muslim now, and who testified in open court that he did not know the other brother, and that they had nothing to do with it, the one that was picked up a week later, and the other one that was picked up a week and a half later. Talmadge Hayer, a.k.a. Hagen, was seen shooting Malcolm by Reuben Francis, Malcolm's bodyguard, who had just joined up with them a few weeks earlier. You know what I'm saying? As Talmadge Hayer is making his getaway, Reuben Francis, first Eugene, what's his name? Robert, throws a chair at him. Please. Reuben Francis shoots him in the leg. Why did he shoot him in the head? Why did he shoot him in the back? In the chest? He shot him in the leg. Talmadge Hayer, or Hagen, almost gets away. But the crowd grabs him and starts beating him. Right. Almost like magic. The two patrolmen rush to him, rescue him from the crowd, throw him in a car, and speed off. But they also catch another one. I brought the newspapers here with me. I went and got the microfilm, and went all in and got everything. Yes, sir. I got all the papers that came out during that time. I was ready for this tractor tonight. I was ready for this tractor tonight. I got them all. I went in right in New York and did the research. Mm-hmm. All right. When the newspapers came out, there were 3 daily newspapers in New York at that time. How many? 3. How many? 3. There were 3 daily newspapers at that time. All 3 of them said 2 men were captured at the scene of Malcolm's murder. That was the headline of the paper. Yes, sir. 2 men. They even named the patrolman Hoy, who arrested one of them and whisked him off to one of the major police precincts, I believe it was Wadsworth, and said that all of the top brass converged on that precinct to talk to him and to interrogate him. But brothers and sisters, do you know what? When the next issue of the newspaper came out, all 3 of the newspapers dropped the second mystery man from their story. And all of them said one suspect was arrested in the murder of Malcolm X. What happened to the second one? All right. Who was the second one? Why did all of the top brass of the police department converge on that precinct to talk to him? Mm-hmm. And since maybe there was a mistake, Bruce Perry said. Then if there was a mistake, why didn't all 3 of the daily newspapers, including the New York Times, why didn't they issue some kind of explanation to the people, since they said it was 2? There was one newspaper, the New York Herald Tribune, one of the main ones. I want to talk to you about the New York Herald Tribune. This is the New York Herald Tribune, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this USA Today, September 1979 article on mass media, CIA perversion of domestic news. It says the sweeping involvement of the Central Intelligence Agent in the domestic press has not really been understood. Dozens of articles have appeared detailing the CIA's use of the press as a cover for its agents. As a cover for what? For its agents. It goes on to say CIA Director Stanfield Turner admitted that the CIA was doing this. In print journalism, the actions of the CIA-owned Forum World Features provides an equally suspicious picture. Forum World Features was founded in 1958 as a Delaware corporation, ostensibly owned by John Hay Whitney, publisher of the New York Herald Tribune, whom CIA sources have described as a witting participant. Forum pointed out that the CIA has 30 domestic newspapers that they use, including the Washington Post, among its clients. That means that the CIA, it goes on to say they own radio stations and television stations, and they own over 30 newspapers, and they name this particular newspaper. That means that they can cover anything they want to cover. Change any story they want to change.
Right.
Put anything out to the public that they want to put out. Right. This is USA Today, September 1979, on the control of the CIA over radio stations, television stations, and newspapers.
All right.
Not only that, but Harper's Magazine, April 1984, lets us know that the United States government goes all over the world killing world leaders and setting up assassination plots in nations all over the world. Harper's Magazine, April 1984. 1963, Cuba, attempt to assassinate Fidel Castro, unsuccessful. 63, Dominican Republic, organized military coup to overthrow the government of Juan Bosch, successful. It goes on and on and on. It gives us year after year of the United States government going into other nations and killing world leaders. Why would they leave the leader of a black organization alone right inside of the United States if they would do it all over the world? Right. The last point on Mecca. Yes, Malcolm went to Mecca, but Malcolm had been to Saudi Arabia in 59. Bruce Perry talks about it in his book. Right. What did Malcolm see in 64 in Mecca or in Saudi Arabia that he didn't see in 59? Bruce Perry says in his book that when Malcolm came back from Saudi Arabia in 1959, he says he didn't see any white people. Bruce Perry says that. I want to give you the page. Right. So that when you start your study groups, you can go right into it. That's all right. As you start your study groups, he points out and quotes Malcolm as saying that there were no white people there when he was there in 59. That was a time when white people were not permitted in that area at all, as they were not permitted in Kemet or Egypt. That's why they called it the Kemetic Mystery System, because white people were not allowed in the inner circle of Kemet or Egypt at that time, as was at a time in the sacred precinct of Mecca. I can't go into the deeper details of Mecca and Islam and Christianity and Judaism as I wanted to, but Malcolm, you are told, found the true Islam there. Well, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Islam, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that Islam, Christianity, and Judaism come from the soul of the black man and black woman. That's right. Come from us. There would be no Islam, no Christianity, and no Judaism. That's right. I saw racism all over Mecca. I've been 7 times. Sir. Go ahead. 7 times. Malcolm was El-Hajj Malik El-Shabab. Question me on that title or credential also. I'm El-Hajj too. What year did you go? Find out for yourself. Go to Mecca and find. Right. Come on, brother. They got pictures of Malcolm and there's a snagger-tooth boy. You get one like that on me when I was not shaving my head every day. You'll work for it. Brothers and sisters, all Muslims face the Qibla, which is the spiritual center, and at that spiritual center is what is called the Kaaba. In ancient Kemetic teachings, when you study the Medu Netar, the hieroglyphic, Kaaba means the Ka and the Ba, the spirit and the soul. We believed in the Ka and the Ba before there was ever a house built in Mecca called the Kaaba. That comes from the nature and the soul of the black man and woman. We always believed in the one God.
That's right.
No matter where you find us in Kulukulu, Shango, Oshun, Ogun, Yemonja, Opatula, Ile, Ba, Pata, Amin Ra, Amin Aten, Asa, Aset. We always, Chuku, we always believed in the one God. So understanding this, then you should understand that Malcolm must have had another purpose in mind. Bilal, the Ethiopian slave, nobody taught Bilal Islam.
That's right.
Nobody taught Bilal, the black slave, that was a slave of the white Arabs, who are imposter Arabs.
Yes, sir.
And the white Jew, the white Hebrew, is an imposter Jew. You are the true Jew. You are the true Hebrew. You are the true Arab. That page was on page 206, but there were no white people in Bruce Perry's book when Malcolm went over. That's a quote directly from Malcolm that Bruce Perry admits in his book. Brothers and sisters, inside of Mecca, when you study it, you'll find that Bilal had never met Prophet Muhammad. He was a slave. Read Dr. Chancellor Williams' Destruction of Black Civilization. You'll see how that whole area changed from black to brown to white. There is no Middle East. Don't let anybody tell you there's a Middle East. If they tell you that the Middle East is Northeast Africa. If they tell you there's a Middle East, then you ask them, where's the Middle West? Where's the Middle North? Where's the Middle South?
Right.
And if they're too crazy, they ask them, where's the Middle? No Middle East. The Middle East is Northeast Africa, separated from the mainland of Africa by a man-made ditch called the Suez Canal. If you want to call that land Africa today, named after a white man named Africanus, unless you understand the Kemetic root of Akebra, that means the birthplace or the place of transformation and rebirth. If you don't know about that, then you should shut up. Because Africa is a white name. You put down America, put down one white name, and picked up two white names. African America. You ain't not no African American. You're not any kind of American. You got that from Messy Jesse. You got that from Jesse, that African American. Bilal already knew about the one God. The real land question hasn't even come up in the Middle East. They talk about this so-called Arab, imposter Arab, and imposter Palestinian or Jew. The real land question, the land belongs to us. He was driven from the centers of power. And these hordes of people from Europe came in and took over our religion, culture, God, and everything. Bilal believed in the one God. They were dragging him in the sun, beating him and punishing him because he wouldn't bow down to the idol gods in the Kaaba. Where did he know about it from? If he was from Ethiopia and had never met Prophet Muhammad, it was coming up out of his genetic memory bank. It's his nature to believe in the one God. Right? When they finally bought his freedom through Abu Bakr, then he had a unique way that he prayed and called the faithful to prayer. So they went and told the prophet that. The prophet said, bring him to me. Bilal went to the prophet and taught him. The prophet did not teach Bilal how to call the prayer and how to pray in that special way. They told the prophet about Bilal. So the prophet said he heard Bilal, he had a vision, and he heard Bilal's footsteps going into paradise or Jannah ahead of him. The prophet said in one hadith that black people would go into Jannah or paradise ahead of all the other people. Inside of Mecca is what is called the Hajar al-Aswad, or the black stone. Right? All of the pilgrims kissed the black stone. Right. But 6 miles outside of Mecca in Mina are 3 white pillars. They won't even put the white ones inside of Mecca. And all of the pilgrims gather 49 stones in the valley of Muzdalifah, and they stone the white devil. They kill the white devil. Malcolm went on that ritual. All right. Malcolm understood all of that. All of the pilgrims killed the white devil, and they kissed the black stone inside of Mecca. Malcolm, brothers and sisters, did not really change that much when he went to Mecca. But Malcolm wrote to the civil rights leaders while he was over there so that he could come back and become the popular leader of the civil rights movement. But he had to build a new platform and a new base because he had spanked the civil rights leaders so hard over the years. Right. So he had to write them and tell them, I changed. I've changed. Integration can work. Malcolm was not a ritualist. Malcolm was a realist. Right. And Malcolm knew that just because it worked during a ritual or a ceremony in Mecca for a few days, that when everybody put back on their traditional clothes and went back home, a nigger was going to be a nigger all over again. Malcolm understood. So whatever Malcolm saw in 64, you can believe he saw it in 59 when he went to Saudi Arabia. Right. But why did he talk about it in 64 but didn't talk about it in 59? These are questions you have to ask yourself. And so now I'm really finished. And I thank you for being as kind and as attentive as you have been. There's so much more to be said, but we want to at this time, as you have been as attentive as you have been, and it's very hot in here, to thank you for your kind attention. I hope that in some way, no matter how small, I hope that you have learned something tonight that will pull us closer together and give us a better understanding of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Minister Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and our liberation and salvation struggle here in the hells of North America. Thank you for listening.
Butler and I believe Johnson.
Yes, sir.
You said you spoke to both of them. Okay, you said you spoke to one of them, but you just said something about you had interviewed them on the concern of Malcolm X's assassination, but you never got a chance to elaborate on that.
These brothers were innocent. Brother Norman, 3X Butler. Brother Thomas, 15X Johnson. That's why it's this time proving that they couldn't have been there, that they couldn't have gotten in. These 2 men were innocent. The ones who killed Malcolm, Talmadge Hayer, a.k.a. Hagan, tried to give the judge and the court the name of the conspirators who were responsible for Malcolm's murder, and the judge cut him off and told the jury, told the stenographer, strike that from the court record. Said that he was only covering for his Muslim accomplice and that he was trying to take the weight all by himself. Another point I didn't get to raise is that brother, I don't know if it's brother or not, Reuben Francis, the so-called bodyguard of Malcolm, who had just joined a few weeks earlier, who shot Talmadge Hayer or Hagan in the leg, was in prison on a firearms charge from that shooting that day. They never took him from prison under guard and brought him to court for him to testify when he was supposed to have been an eyewitness. But they never brought him to the courtroom at all. His testimony, I'm sure you would all agree, could have been a very key testimony. Malcolm's bodyguard, who shot one of the men at the scene, was in prison for the same weapon that he shot him with, shot the Thomas Hayer with, but they never brought him from prison under guard to appear in court.
Okay, I got one more question too. I read the book, so I read it.
Now, we try to take one question from each, but I'll go on with brothers.
Okay. In the book, Malcolm X states that he had went to Elijah Muhammad's house And as he was there, it was two sisters that were trying to get to see the messenger because they were pregnant by the messenger. And that they had told him that they was trying to get money for the two children that they had by the messenger. And that was the point that supposed to hurt Malcolm so bad that he went back to his wife, Betty Sebastian, all broken up about the situation, about the two sisters that he had met at Elijah Muhammad's house in Chicago, in the book.
Bruce Perry makes mention of that. Spike Lee has that in his movie. My study and research does not bear that out. My study and research with some of the ministers who were around that time, some of them who are responsible for making the payments to the wives who had children for the messenger and for helping to take care of them. They tell me, I know at least two of them who are ministers now, one in Chicago and one in Los Angeles, and they say that the payments were made on time. One of them said he used to write the check and he used to deliver the check. The one in Chicago says that. So we don't know what could have happened in a case like that. We don't know if there were circumstances that caused that one time for the check to be late or for whatever assistance to be late. We don't know. And we don't know if the sisters got irate or the sisters got emotional. We don't know what happened really in a situation like that. But that's not what really hurt Malcolm. See, this is what makes me sick. Bruce Perry and some of these others want us to believe that Malcolm got so hurt because he found out that his teacher was so immoral. The other point I didn't mention, my God, is that even if a person doesn't believe in the Bible or the Holy Quran, I didn't even go into the Bible of all of the great prophets in the Bible who had more than one wife. But if you don't believe in Bible nor Holy Quran, what about African tradition and African culture? Malcolm went to many countries where some Oba, some Oni, some kings and rulers have 100 Iyeba or 100 queens or wives. And nobody criticized an African king for having 100 wives. They look at you like a fool if you go over there criticizing an African king for having more than one wife. Malcolm understood this. But Malcolm had some personal reasons because of personal pain. Nothing to do with him observing his leader from a perspective and a vantage point that he had not observed him from previously, and he was so shaken and his foundation was so destroyed. That's not what happened. But that's the party line that's put out there. Any point that Bruce Perry is on, you should weigh it very carefully if he advances. My sister.
Has an unidentified suspect ever been found or?
No more talk about the other suspect that was in all three of the headlines of the New York Daily, including the New York Times, and dropped out of the headlines in the very next issue. All of them conveniently, no explanation, nothing.
And there's no way that no one would give any information to try
It's impossible. It could have been an FBI agent. Could have been an undercover agent. That's why I read the information on the CIA owning radio stations and television stations and over 30 newspapers. And the main newspaper that was quoted was one of the papers that they said was a witting participant in other matters. So you know if they needed to use that paper for that purpose, they could also use it for that purpose. You know if they want to advance certain information that would be negative against the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they've got a media apparatus to work. The CIA does, electronic as well as print media. Can you speak loudly, ma'am, so everyone can hear?
After Malcolm made time, after Malcolm came back from time in the Middle East, did he still have, and so what times also, did he still have the same view that the white man is the devil, or did he feel different about those white Muslims who were in the Middle East?
Well, I've been 7 times, and I saw some white folks. Even the Arabs are white. They're not the true Arabs. And they are as racist as they can be. I've got into fights in Memphis at the airport, where I saw white Arabs take 70, 80, 90-year-old blue, black Nigerian sisters, elders, and grab them and snatch them and throw them across the airport. I couldn't speak a word Arabic before she left his fingertips. I was on his behind, snatched him up and threw him up against the wall. That's my mom. I've seen ghettos in that. I've seen around with bread in their robes, with black people begging in the street, and they take the bread and throw it up in the air and let it hit the dirt, and make black people stir in the dirt together. I didn't say it on the tape, but I wish we could add these things in the question and answer period to the tape. But our leader in teaching, that's right, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and in some cases I've traveled with him. We've been all over the world. In some cases I've traveled independently. I've been to socialist countries, communist countries. And wherever the black-white dynamic existed, I saw the white communists, the white socialists on top, and the black communists and the black socialists on the bottom. All right. I've been to Jew countries. And wherever the black-white dynamic existed, I saw the white Jew on top and the black Jew on the bottom. I've been to Christian countries, and I saw the white Christian on top and the black Christian on the bottom. I've been to capitalist countries. I saw the white capitalist on top and the black capitalist on the bottom. I've been to Muslim countries, Mecca and others. I saw the white Muslim on top and the black Muslim on the bottom. It makes no difference what the social, political, economic system is. Wherever the black-white dynamic exists, the white is on top and the black is disrespected and on the bottom.
Yes, sir. I just enjoyed the lecture tonight. I'm 20 years in the struggle myself, you know, shot in the face and everything, and Malcolm will always be on my wall. He's my hero, you know. My question is now, do you plan to publish these facts based on the fact that it is, as you say, and I agree with you, if we could say what you're saying is in fact the situation as it exists, to publish this so that there can be some kind of unification. I thought that was truly interesting how you said Malcolm is the pivotal point upon which, you know, the black liberation movement can coalesce based on his standing and how, you know, things kind of like went in several different directions. I kind of like thought that was truly interesting, gave me some real food for thought. And so do you plan to publish that?
There's a sister sitting right here. I wish she left. I hope she left her number with somebody. But she challenged me with that just a second ago, which just really hit me. And then she said she would leave her number. I hope she did. I have it. And brother, first officer here has it. And that was what she said. You've got to print some of this. You've got to publish some of this. So I'm not going to be the black Bruce Perry. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to trash Malcolm. I'm not going to do that. Trash Malcolm. We draw from his poverty and learn lessons from the negative. None of us are perfect. We all stumble. But the African proverb says to stumble is not to fall. To stumble is to move fast. To move forward fast.
I think what you were saying was very important about the correction of the distortions, like when you brought up the fact that the police officer that he interviewed was actually the officer at that time who took the report. If you just read the book, you'll think that a lot of Bruce Perry's witnesses and people that he went to get his information from were credible because he lists their names and their addresses. But I want to go back and find out how credible are these people? You know, how credible is a white police officer at the scene of the crime? And I'm thinking that not that you have to do like the Shahrazad Ali, Hakim al-Booty thing, but I think that someone does need to go back and look at all the information he's putting forth and say that, look, you just can't dope the masses and list 100 references and think that we're going to buy this as scholarly research. I don't find that to be scholarly to go back and get a biased, obviously biased opinion from someone. I don't think a lot of people...
Let's look at some of these witnesses. How creditable would they be in a court of law? By this cracker. Would this cracker, Bruce Perry, accept a convict who spent 6 years as a cheap burglar with Malcolm, named Malcolm Jarvis? Malcolm went on to transform his life. Malcolm Jarvis never changed. Right. Probably envious of Malcolm, jealous of Malcolm, hates the fact that everywhere he looked, his main man, who he used to as a teenager,
chase the white girls and rob and burglarize with and set up in the penitentiary with, his main man from his adolescent years is now a big hero in the world. So some cracker come to him, slip him a few dollars like they did Ralph David Abernathy on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the walls came tumbling down. Give him a few dollars and say, look, Malcolm Jarvis, look, tell me about Malcolm. He said, man, Malcolm wasn't so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. Look, man, Malcolm used to such and such and so-and-so, and that was Reverend Witherspoon. He used to go, Reverend Witherspoon was a homosexual, and we used to do this. Look, let me tell you about Malcolm, man. Look, you want a drink? Let me tell you. You want a hit? Let me tell you. He said, no, Malcolm, I don't hear I don't know if Bruce does. I don't know. But how can you trust these people? All of these people. He went back to Malcolm's prison record and got the name of people who were in the joint with him and tried to find as many people as he could. I say whatever Malcolm X did during his teenage years and early 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, whatever he did, so what? Once he became a Muslim in the Nation of Islam, even Bruce Perry has to admit his life was totally transformed. Malcolm used to say himself, I'm one of the best examples of what Mr. Muhammad's teaching and program can do. Of what America has done to me and what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done to change my life, I'm one of the best examples. That's why Dr. Alex Haley asked him to do the book, Malcolm on himself. Malcolm went to Dr. Haley to do a book on the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Dr. Haley told him, no, the book should be on you. You can talk better about your leader and teacher than he can talk about himself. Now, we'll come to you. I'll come back to you in a minute. My sister.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, why do you think that this controversy still persists? Because in the research that I've done, I was using the FBI file book, and in the chronology, it listed that Malcolm knew about these wives in 1955. Okay, so that just does not jive with the fact that he would become...
It took 10 years.
It took 10 years for him to just be so outraged at this, this immorality that he had already known about. And also, if you could speak...
Let me stop you for a second. That's the point I was making. He held it for 10 years because he really understood it according to Bible and Quran. He understood the history of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar. He understood all of that. He understood Prophet Muhammad's history. He understood African culture and tradition and a man having more than one wife. But it was only when he was set down at the height of his career 10 years later that he started calling it immorality and played on the public because he knew that the public couldn't take polygamy. Some deaf, dumb, and blind Negroes couldn't take a polygamy issue. And he didn't even make it polygamy. He made it something cheap and immoral and indecent.
That's right. And also in the book it talks
Hey, you hold your brother, got me that fire. My hand.
In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of his Messiah, the black revolutionary Messiah for the liberation and salvation of the black nation, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and in the name of the apostle of the two of them, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we burn this book ceremoniously to say that anyone who stands up to malign, to vilify, to in any way destroy the image of those who have stood up to strike a blow for our freedom and independence, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Al-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Minister Malcolm X, Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and the others, the father of Malcolm X, Reverend Earl Little, his mother, Sister Louise, and all, we burn this book to say to this cracker and to say to this devil that this is what we think of your efforts, and we will not go into the bookstore to buy nor to spend a penny on this trash. Praise be to Allah. And that's why Bruce Perry didn't come. He thought that after the debate he would be out here.